Rumors started circulating earlier this week that the Quest 4 had been canceled. These rumors fueled by tweets from very popular and usually highly accurate Luna on Twitter, and sadly it's Bradley, two code scrubbers who have been known to find updates long before they exist publicly, with very good rates of always being correct on these things. If you haven't been following much of the Quest 4 news, it had been all but confirmed by Meta that there was a Quest 4 coming in 2026, two different models, a more high-end and a lower-end, similar to what we've got with the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S. These were nicknamed the Pismo Low and the Pismo High, and originally when we found out about this, it was a surprise that 2025 would get no headset at all, as we've gotten used to Quests coming out every year, but we are only gonna have to wait till 2026 to get a new Quest 4, and now it sounds like Meta has canceled those 2026 plans, but on the bright side is only pushing it hopefully to 2027. Still a long time for VR headset users to wait, especially if you already feel like the Quest 3 is a little underpowered, and all of this is to make room for a headset that was codenamed Puffin and is basically an extremely lightweight, open periphery headset with a tethered compute puck similar to what we've seen in the Orion and what's rumored to be coming on the Ray-Bans this year in 2025. And the information that came out last year on it says that this is basically just a bulky pair of glasses, weighs less than 110 grams, but unlike the wireless puck we see coming hopefully for the Ray-Bans and what's on the Orion, this would actually be a tethered puck that not only has the computing power but also has the battery, and Meta hoping it would be small enough to fit in the wearer's pocket. A headset that really would not be a replacement for virtual reality for the Quest 4, but something more similar to what we've seen with headsets that let you have multiple screens inside of them. Whether you're watching shows, using it for entertainment, or pulling up multiple screens for productivity, this would be a super light pair of glasses that does not have any controllers either. This would use gaze and pinch just like the Apple Vision Pro, and this means that we may not see a direct Meta headset until 2027, likely the Quest 4. With it being that far out, that does kind of leave room for Meta to cancel the headset that they really wanted, though, because as we reported on last year, they had already shown that they were going to partner up with companies like Asus and Lenovo and allow them to make Quest-style headsets that would run the same operating system, but they could be specialized for either productivity or gaming. And as we've seen in other leaks from Luna on Twitter, there is the possibility that the Asus ROG Quest-style headset would even have high tracking and more advanced displays than the Quest 3 now. And so if all this is true, we really might start seeing that Quest-style headsets get outsourced to other companies, and Meta may step back more into the software side and may not be the direct supplier of Quest VR headsets in the future. It's not surprising with the steps that they've been taking to allow other companies to move into the space that they might really step out and do that. And then instead of having to drop a new headset every year and deal with all the manufacturing, they could just drop something every few years, or they could drop it all together and just focus on the back end and focus on their AI, AR smart glasses. How do you feel about all that? I've been trying to think about other examples where things happen like this, as we've seen kind of with the whole Android market and how many different companies make phones for it, which is familiar, but something we haven't seen happen as often in the gaming side. It would be pretty wild for Sony to say they were going to let other companies start making their PlayStations and then just focus on the software for it. Boz did say before that Meta's always working on multiple headsets, as we saw in that video from a few years ago where Mark showed off so many prototypes of headsets to Norm over at Tested, and he said most of the headsets do end up getting canceled. What do you think? You think a Quest 4 is still on the table? You think that they might go a different direction with it, or we're just going to have to wait even longer for it? For all you giveaway fans out there, we found another one that's giving away a full Quest 3. Giveaway started, it's only got a few days left, and this is to celebrate a new game that came out, Connectome. This is an art puzzle VR experience game. I got in and tried it myself. It's got trippy visuals, but the game kind of unlocks to you as you go on. It reminded me of a game I really liked, a puzzle game that I played flat called An Unfinished Swan, because like in the beginning, it's really simple. You're doing these small puzzles, and as you go further, the textures, the colors open up, the whole world opens up to you. Fully playable and hand tracking. You can sit down, or if you stand, it's a little bit more immersive, but as you unlock more colors, animals, shapes, textures, it just keeps getting more beautiful. They're giving us a discount code as well down below, so if you do get the game, I recommend try it on a chill evening when you want to take some time, really get through and unlock what you see when you go later, because eventually it feels like you're building this whole world around you, and you can even backtrack through what you've created. It's a really interesting idea, and so far their giveaway looks like it's only got a couple hundred people who have entered this, but check them out. There's a discount link to the game if you want to get that too. Make sure you get entered in that giveaway, and each person can unlock a huge number of entries on the giveaway, especially if you revisit it and get that daily bonus. That's why you'll see a whole bunch of entries at the top, but each person can unlock like 50 or more points themselves. I'd love to see one of you from our community win this Quest 3. Check out their game. Thanks to them for sponsoring this week's news, and I'm happy to find another giveaway to share with all of you out there. This ultralight headset with puck is supposedly going to come next year now, and will also cost less than $1,000. The Wall Street Journal reported on this that the price point is ideally going to be under $1,000. The Wall Street Journal, of course, being very on top of things and calling it a premium virtual reality headset, even though this really would not be virtual reality by any stretch of my imagination. Although there is some back and forth there. They said the code name is actually Loma, not Puffin, but that could just be internal different names or even different models of it. As we saw, the Quest Pro was originally called the Cambria, and then the candidate that actually made it to market was called the Seacliff. This information, of course, not confirmed by Meta, and even different VR news publications arguing that this may not be true at all because they're claiming it's under $1,000, but Meta is still possibly looking at different display systems that could change that price completely. It will be interesting to see what happens to the market if we start seeing those higher price points, though, if people have gotten used to the Quest and even the Ray-Bans coming in around $300. To suddenly see a more premium price tag again, $1,000, $1,400 is supposedly what the Ray-Bans this year might cost that have one single display in one side. We don't know, and we're having to go a lot off reports that may be correct right now, but that could change by the time these actually launch. 2026 is a long ways away in the cycle of some sort of glasses, but my question to you is, if they do come out with a good pair of glasses that do have to be cabled up and might feel more reminiscent of an AR version of Apple Vision Pro, how much would you pay for them? Is $1,000 that magical price point that is just too high for anyone to consider it? If they can come in at $900, is that still too high, especially if you're used to Ray-Bans only costing a few $100s? In all my years in VR, I can't say I've ever paid more than $1,000 for any headset in general. To the regular consumer, it's just a lot of money to drop on something like that. So it'll be interesting to see if this falls more into that Google Glass tech enthusiast kind of realm, or if mainstream people are actually buying it. And speaking of price being the barrier to entry for a lot of people to the world of VR, AR, XR, now Meta's offering 12 monthly payments if you're interested in getting a Quest 3S, which was something we already had here in the US, but the UK is also getting this option. The Play Now, Pay Later, which we are already used to here, basically partnered up with a firm and allowed people to get a Quest and pay for it over time. The Quest 3S with 24 monthly payments at $20 ends up costing you $480 for a Quest 3S, or the Quest 3 at $30 ends up costing $720. But now basically in the UK, if people want to, they can get it with Klarna. Quest 3S at £30 a month for 12 months, or the Quest 3 at £46 a month. One thing that does make the price point a little better is it does include the Horizon Plus game subscription, what was called Quest Plus, where you get a backlog of VR games you can play, and then you get 2 new ones every month that you get to keep as long as you keep the subscription. But the UK does lose some of the other perks the US had. You don't get the Warranty Plus or Batman Arkham Shadow at this price. If you're in the UK and you've been thinking about a headset for a while, but paying all that up front is a little much, is this something you would jump on? We've been talking a lot lately about the operating system updates happening on the Quest and what's changed there, good or bad. But unexpectedly, the web browser is also getting experimental co-located web XR support. This would mean that multiple people in the same location with headsets on could have an easier time working together, playing games together, and seeing the same space even with the same AR objects around them. A feature that we've seen in games before, like Spatial Ops, and something that when you're doing it, it just feels so intuitive and right that you don't really think about how much work has to actually go into these headsets coordinating in real time the space around each other and what the people are doing. Even something like how the armor on the other players in Spatial Ops needs to stay on the person because you're trying to shoot the person, but it's detecting it through the armor that you're shooting and not necessarily their physical being running around the room. There's a full developer breakdown if you really want to hear all the little details and all the tech stuff. I'll leave a link down below in the description in case you do want to go check that out. But it's great to see more updates making this happen, especially as headsets have gotten cheaper. People still have their Quest 2s and they upgrade, because now more than ever, we're seeing multiple VR headsets in the house together. Sports have been one of those things that seem like an obvious use for VR, but have had kind of a hard time gaining traction. It is awesome to sit courtside at your favorite game with your VR headset on, but it can be pretty isolating if you're having all the guys over one night to watch it and they have it on TV and you're just sitting in your headset alone over there. Even if you're passing the headset around, it can be a cool experience, but it still feels like we just haven't figured out quite the right way to do it yet. But if you're a Quest owner and a hockey fan, you're going to be able to watch the Stanley Cup final rinkside in 180 degrees totally free. It is 2D 180, and that's with the Xstadium app, which we've talked about before on Quest. Allows you to get in a lot of different sports games. People were able to watch the NBA All-Star game, and it is a little bit better, at least if you want to watch it with people outside of your house, or if you have another Quest in the house, because you can co-watch with your friends who have Quests and sit beside each other as your meta avatars. This is a big first for the sport, having the Stanley Cup actually be streamed live to VR. And if you're interested in checking this out or other sports, Xstadium is totally free on the Horizon store, but only in the US. If you followed VR as long as we have, Palmer Luckey is a big name in the industry. One of the original founders of Oculus, was there when it got bought by Meta and was eventually kind of let go of or left Meta at a time when Meta was doing things that they had promised they would never do when they acquired Oculus, like making you have a Facebook account to actually use your device. Well, in a surprise, we see the two of them back together again, Palmer Luckey and Mark Zuckerberg. And Palmer Luckey's new company, Anduril, is going to partner with Meta to build military XR devices using their Eagle Eye AR VR helmet. This news coming out 3 months after Anduril Israel had already announced they were going to take over the U.S. Army's Integrated Visual Augmentation System program, which is aiming to get every soldier an AR helmet that can expand their situational awareness, and replacing what we talked about years ago of Microsoft and their HoloLens partnership with the military. It's an obvious fit if you think about it, even from a gaming perspective. When you're playing games like Call of Duty or something, just having a map or a radar, something on your screen is a huge help. And the idea of soldiers being able to see something like that and being able to see where their other soldiers are or maps of their surroundings can all be huge and edited live. But obviously in tense situations, you need something that's also very reliable. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, and obviously military is a little out of our scope here, but there was a big investment in the HoloLens and it kind of fell through over time, so it'll be interesting to see if this is more successful. If you typically keep up on your own on VR news, there's a couple major websites you probably look at: Upload VR, Rhodes VR, and Mixed News. And continuing with some of our sad reporting this year, Mixed News itself is kind of stopping. The website will cease operations on June 1st, and some of their major editors are going to join Heise Online, which is one of Europe's largest tech websites, and they're going to stop the independent operation of Mixed News itself. Mixed News has received mixed reviews over the years. I've seen people on Reddit before talking about how they feel like it is a more clickbaity site than the other ones. They feel like it's behind on the reporting, but as one of their main editors said in their goodbye article, it's been a passion project that at times has been able to fund itself, but they had editors that oftentimes were working other full-time jobs trying to keep the site running and going. It's definitely a bit of sad news to me, as I do read a lot of their articles and find some of them really interesting. And just in general, when we've seen so much with layoffs and everything else going on in VR, seeing one of the most major VR publication sites going down doesn't feel like a great thing either for the market, but maybe that leaves room for something new to come out of that. Something that has surprised me personally lately is I've been finding myself spending more time in my PSVR 2 and a little less time in the Quest. Basically, I finally got back into Resident Evil 4 VR, which is also available on Quest, but the remake is fully available on PSVR 2. Been trying some of the other games. Just having the high-end graphics, not having to worry about the battery of the headset, does remind me why I love PSVR 1 so much. Well, if you've been kind of on the fence about a PSVR 2 for a while, your PS5 is already there. The price is coming down on the PSVR 2, but only for about another week. Sony's Days of Play 2025 sale saw it come down from $400 down to $350, and that's down from its original $550 launch price, so it is a significantly low drop. They're also offering $50 off the PlayStation 5 Pro if you really want to go fully in on this. If it's something you've been thinking about a while, the PSVR 2 still only seems to have so many games that I play that are going to give you such a better experience than on Quest. It's worth it, but the problem is you have to think about the fact that if you already have the Quest games, you're going to be rebuying or buying new ones and spending a lot on games on the PSVR 2, but the price is down if you've been watching for one. And on the bright side of other VR headsets, we talked a long time about the Valve Deckard and whether it's coming or not. Seems like it might really finally be coming this year, and adding more fuel to that fire. The founder of Lynx, the ones who made the Lynx R1 standalone set, has now said that Valve's next headset is quite amazing. Deckard is basically Valve's follow-up to the Index, a headset that still people are using even 6 years after its launch, that is still tethered to a PC. And the Deckard rumors are that it's a standalone headset, possibly in the $1,000 plus range, but something that would bring back high-end VR, now wireless, and hopefully create a little bit more buzz in the industry again. We reported on the idea of the Deckard multiple times, and I really hope it does come this year. Between us now possibly not having another Quest for 2 years and everything else, we could use the breath of life in the industry. And while we're on track with other headsets, Apple Vision Pro may finally get controller support next week. We talked about this last year when they were saying that it might actually use PSVR 2 controllers, and now there may be reports and news coming next week that say that it will add official support for those controllers. Basically, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference is happening next week. We'll talk about Vision OS 26, and although this probably isn't that big of news for people who still aren't going to pay $3,500 for the Apple Vision Pro, it might mean that their next version that's hopefully cheaper could be a bit more geared towards gaming if we have actual gaming controllers. We'll keep you posted on that and everything else going on in the VR industry. A lot of news dropped this week, so 2 news videos. We haven't done that in quite a while. It's a good thing that there is actually news happening. Some other big stuff going on. We've got a couple companies partnered up with us to give away more headsets, so make sure you check the links down below in the description and comments if you haven't entered in those giveaways already. There'll be a lot of information coming out of AWE, which is coming up here soon, the Augmented World Expo. After a lot of thinking back and forth, we decided not to actually go attend that this year, but we will cover anything big that comes out of it. And I'm sorry to those of you out there who were excited to meet up. I know we've been talking about possibly meeting some of you there, but it's going to give us a chance here to catch up on things. There's been so much traveling, so much going on this year that I feel a little behind personally myself, and maybe I'm not too disappointed that now I might have a chance to finish Resident Evil 4 in VR. But what are you playing out there? What are you enjoying at the moment? What are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments down below. But once again, thank you for being here with me. I'll see you in another reality.